Hi, welcome to Craft It Sweetly. I'm Diana. Thanks so much for being here. In this video, I wanted to show you a project I'm working on. It's how to turn these beads into a Suncatcher. I've started it already and I've done quite a few of the steps, but I wanted to show you kind of from the beginning some of the things that I need or that I'm using. Whatever color you choose, I have an assortment of beads here, and this is a great project if you're trying to use up just random beads that you may have. So if you have kind of just an assortment that aren't necessarily pairs that you can make earrings out of or things like that, then this is a great project as long as you're going for a color scheme. So I'm going with a blue, green, yellow kind of scheme for this. And this is what I'm trying to make, is just basically these are like beaded earrings that I would be using. I've done some of these as earrings, but if you have beads that don't match, this is a great project. First thing that I need is these pin heads is what I'm using. And you can go with gold or silver. They have brass, copper, you know, different ones. And these don't have to be stainless steel or, like sterling silver. I think these are just stainless steel ones that I had in my stash. And then it's just a matter of picking the beads that you want. So I have some beads here in the same ones that I've already done. And it's just layering them. Now I want to layer these. They're about a little over an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter for everything. So that's how much I want this to be as far as the length of it. I don't want them too long, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then it's just a matter of layering them. So I will layer a couple of these, and I'm trying to alternate colors just to give it a little bit of more interest. Now for this project, the beads that'll work best would be the ones that are translucent. So these are not translucent to catch the sun, but they do have kind of a metallic look to it, so that's why I'm using these. Okay, so it's usually about 4 beads that I can put on here. I guess those two are too similar, so let me find a different one. That's the one I just used. Here we go. Let's flip these. And I'll use a green one up here. Okay, so that's, you know, I'm happy with this look right there for this one. Now I want to close this off, so I have some tools here that I'll be using as far as pliers. This is a looping tool. It will create the loop for you. What I've used to do in the past, and if you don't have one of these, you can use just regular pliers. You need to cut this down right about this much, so that probably would be a little less than 1/4 of an inch, and then you fold it down to 90 degrees and then loop it around these round tips so that you create a loop. The nice thing with this is that it does all that for you without having to cut, and it's a tool in one basically. And the way you use this is you insert the post through the hole, and it does have a hole on top here, so I inserted that up here. Whoops, let me get a grip on it. Insert, that's in the hole up here, and then I'm just going to press this down. It cuts it and then forms the loop right there. It wraps it around that post that's in the tool. Hopefully you can see that. I will zoom in. Okay, and then once you take it off, then this is all set. So I just want to make sure this is straight. Okay, and then you have your beads on the pin head with a loop at the top. Okay, so hopefully you can see this right there. Okay, so I made a whole bunch of these. Now I won't do another one because it's the same process, putting the beads on and then forming the loop. It's very, very easy project for that. So let me get these beads out of the way. So I want to show you the next thing that you do once you have all the posts you need. So I've done a whole bunch of them right here. Okay, a little better background here so you can actually see what I'm working on. I know they're all kind of green, but this will show up a little better. You make as many as you need. How many do you need? It depends on how many openings you're trying to fill. So what I've done is, and I've seen this done on frames as well, so you can use a frame, rectangular frame, to create this, but I thought it would be interesting to do it on a wreath instead of in a frame. And for this, I'm using, it's like chicken wire, but this particular one that I'm using is a floral, you kind of put it over the foam when you're doing a floral arrangement, and that way you can do the arrangement easier, because it holds the flowers in place. So this is like a plastic coating. It's not your traditional chicken wire that's like the galvanized steel, or I'm not sure exactly what kind of steel it is, but it's silver colored. This is green. And I cut it around the opening of this wreath, and then I kind of twist it around here. So this will eventually get covered. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I'll do with the outer part, with the perimeter around it, but I wanted to do this part first. So once I have a whole bunch of these, and like I said, you need as many of these as you have openings on here. So I counted them, I think it was like 30, but I wouldn't do it in this direction with the horizontal this way, because then you would be hanging this bead anywhere along here, which means it can travel. So you need to do the vertical of these openings so that you can put the loop around this vertical post here, or vertical line, and it's a triangular area which won't allow the bead to travel anywhere. It just stays in one place. Okay, so this is the direction we're working with everything. Okay, one more change in the background. I just realized that green on green you really couldn't see as well, so I figured, okay, we gotta change the background here. Now to attach these beaded posts, you need jump rings, and for the jump rings I'm using 3.2 millimeter jump rings. That's the diameter of the jump ring, and these particular ones are 0.8 millimeters as far as the wiring itself. You can use slightly bigger ones if you don't have the 3.2 millimeter. The only thing is, the bigger the jump ring is, the lower this is gonna hang. So that means that the beads, you know, if you have a bigger jump ring, then you would be farther down on it, so you don't have as much space. So I try to use as small of a jump ring as possible and still be able to go around this. And again, these are 3.2 millimeters. So I have some in here already loose. And what I'm doing now for this part, I'm using 2 different pliers. I have to open the jump ring. If you haven't worked with jump rings before, there is a cut in them, in the jump ring, and you're twisting the jump ring. You kind of have to use 2 pliers and twist them opposite direction. So you're going, and I don't need a lot. So now if you can see, there's an opening right there. So now in that opening, while I'm still holding it, I will add one of my posts right there. And this is what you will do if you're making earrings. And then I'm going to go around one of these vertical posts. Now once I do that, I have to close that jump ring. So I will take the other pliers and go in the opposite direction. Okay, so once your jump ring is completely closed, now you do want to make sure that this is closed completely. Otherwise, either it will fall off, the post with the beads will fall off, or it will fall off of the wreath entirely. Okay, and then you continue adding these posts, and I have them all right here. So I will continue adding these to the chicken wire part, the one thing to note is make sure that all your loops are completely closed. So when you're using the looper, there might be a tiny slight gap, which if it's not closed completely, then you want to make sure that that gap in the loop is completely closed. Otherwise, it may fall off the jump ring. So this one has and it really depends on the thickness of the jump ring, obviously. And if it can't go through that tiny opening, then you're okay. But if it's a thinner jump ring, then you may have it fall off. So this has a very tiny opening here, and I want to make sure that this is closed completely so that the jump ring can't go through that opening. Okay, so I will finish these up and then move on to the outer part and show you what I end up deciding to do with that. I finished attaching all the posts with the beads in the center, and this is what it looks like. Now it's going to be a little hard to see as far as the stained glass reflecting, because it's just the light, the ring light that I have versus actually the sun. So I'll try and take a picture of it when it's sunny, but it being Cleveland and January, almost February, not likely that we'll see sun for anytime soon, but I'll take some pictures of it in the window. What I decided to do for the outer part, I was going to do mesh, but then decided it was going to distract from the pretty beads in the center. So I have these glass marbles. They're half marble, they're not round, they're just flat. You would see probably in like vases, that kind of thing where they just sit flat. So I thought, well, I'm just going to glue these on the outer part. And you can see the ring through it, but that's fine. It's going to be nice and even throughout. And then it'll give some nice reflection for here as well. And I'll do the same thing out here for this area. I'm using a glue gun for that, to glue this down. And I tried these 5 here, and it stayed totally fine. It's not going anywhere. So I thought, well, I'll just continue with that. I put a paper underneath it just because I didn't want to drip the glue everywhere. And I thought the best way, instead of trying to apply the glue here, I thought it would be best if I apply the glue on the marble and then attach it here. Now it gets a little tricky picking it up and flipping it and not getting it on your fingers. So if you hear me scream, it's probably because the glue gun decided that it needed to be on my finger. So I'm going to add some glue there and flip this over and then attach it. If it drips a little bit down, that's fine. It's on the other side. So you don't want to add too much, but enough to glue it to this ring here, to the ring part. And then I'm just going to go all the way around. Now you could go, if you have enough, you could do one color for one ring and then another color. I don't think I have enough of one color to finish an entire ring. So I thought I'm just going to start from the beginning and mix and match throughout, kind of alternating different colors. And for this, I'm not applying more than glue to more than one marble at a time, just because I think it'll dry and then I won't have a chance to glue it down. The one thing when you're applying it, you want to make sure that it's flat. It can shift left or right, you know, kind of tilted. So you want to make sure that this is straight. And then I'm just going to keep going around in a circle. I'll start down here. This was a slightly larger bead or marble, so that's why I decided to add it here. On the wreath, if you're getting to a point where you have this, you may want to try the bead first to make sure it fits, or I keep saying bead, the marble. Okay, that should work right there. So I'll add it in. It's a slightly smaller one. So I'll finish the rest of these and then show you the finished Suncatcher with the pretty designs on it. Now see, it kind of dribbled down here, so I'm glad I had the paper. underneath instead of having to clean it off something else. You could always just toss this. Okay, I finished the wreath or the Suncatcher, and here is how it looks. Again, I don't have any sun to take a picture of it so that you can see what it looks like, but it really is very gorgeous. It is a little heavy because of all the beads or the marbles around. I keep saying beads. All the marbles around the outside. But you can really customize this. You can go with the marbles all in one color and then keep the color here or vice versa. But this is really, it looks really charming on the wall, and then again very, very beautiful with the sun shining through a lot of the colors showing up through here. So I hope this video gave you another idea of what you can do using this floral or chicken wire and then adding the beads to each opening. So this is on a wreath, and the wreath is, how many inches is this? It's a 12-inch wreath. So that's what I used for here, but you can certainly make them smaller as well. You just wouldn't have as many openings for here. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll share some of the equipment or tools that I use to make this in the description box below. If you do make something like this, would love to see you post it in my Facebook group, which I've also linked in the description box. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next project.